Hey, Next Geners, it's Miss Julia here to share another Bible story with you. Today we're continuing on with Samuel and how he obeyed God. He was very obedient. If you tuned in yesterday, we heard how Samuel came about and how his mother went and prayed for a child, and God answered her prayers, and Samuel was born. So, from a very young age, as soon as he could start to work, I'd say around 10 years old, maybe, I don't know the exact age, but he was sent to the tabernacle, that same very place where his mother had prayed to have a child, Samuel, and she sent him to go work with a man named Eli, and he would help clean and work around the building. So one night, first, Eli taught Samuel who God is, and what it would mean to serve God. One night, Samuel heard a voice calling his name, Samuel, Samuel. So he gets up and he says, Eli, you called for me. Eli said, no, I didn't. Okay. Samuel goes back to bed. He hears someone call his name again, Samuel, Samuel. He jumps back out of bed. Yes, Eli. It wasn't me. I did not call for you, Eli said. Samuel goes back to bed, hears it a third time, and goes back to Eli. Eli said, if you hear someone calling your name again, try answering, yes, Lord, I'm here, I'm listening. Because he believed that God was trying to speak to Samuel. So, sure enough, Samuel went back to bed, and he heard a fourth time, Samuel, Samuel. So Samuel did as Eli had told him. He obeyed and said, Lord, I'm here, I hear you. And God told him some news. Unfortunately, it was sad news that God was going to punish Eli's sons because they were disobeying God. And so when Samuel got up the next morning, Eli knew it was probably God trying to speak to Samuel. So he asked, what did God want? What did the Lord ask of you? Samuel learned now from this very early age that it is best to obey. How hard that must have been to give Eli the sad news that God was going to punish his sons. Samuel probably had a nasty feeling in his stomach, didn't really want to say it out loud, but he was obedient to God and did what he had asked, and he told Eli the truth of what God was going to do. Fast forward many years, and Samuel grows to become very close to God. God trusts Samuel, knows that he can use Samuel to say things to the people of Israel for him. We call those people prophets. They speak for God. God can speak for himself, but he gives a message to somebody like Samuel, and Samuel tells the people. Kind of like a messenger. Well, he uses Samuel not just to be a prophet, but later on, he uses Samuel to anoint the very first kings of Israel. Before that, there were judges along the way that would come and kind of help guide them back to God and obeying God. But finally, it was time for kings. So God chose who he wanted for kings. And he told Samuel, the first one I want is Saul. So he finds Saul, he anoints him. That's a special thing that happens just to kind of show that you are the chosen one for God. And Saul is the first king. Saul is disobedient to God a couple of times. God asks him to do something, and Saul did not do it. So he was disobedient. Do you think God liked that or did not like that? He did not. So he made Saul king no more and asked Samuel to go find the next king, a little shepherd boy. We'll hear more about that in a day or two. But you probably already know the story. A little shepherd boy. But Samuel, time and time again, does what God asks him to do, says what God asks him to say, and goes where God asks him to go. Samuel is obedient. And you saw it right from his upbringing when he was serving Eli in the tabernacle. And he was obedient in giving Eli the sad message about how God was going to punish his sons. And then he continues to obey through the rest of his life. Even after his death, he ends up coming back again as a spirit. And is still obeying God, of course. So, the challenge is, can you think in the recent past, if a parent, a grandparent, a older brother or sister, we gotta listen to them too. And a teacher, I'm a teacher. Do you listen and obey your teachers? That's what God wants us to do. He wants us to obey him, and he wants us to obey our parents. That is a commandment. He doesn't want us to say, no, I don't want to do that. No. That is disobeying God, throwing a fit and not doing what you're told, okay? Obeying is doing what you're asked to do, okay? So, I hope you are an obedient child of God and an obedient child of your parents. And I can't imagine any of you who aren't. But if you think back, and maybe there was a time or two where you could have done better at obeying, maybe try in the future to do better at not grumbling or complaining and just doing what you're told. Okay? That's the challenge for today and always, because that's what God wants, right? So, look out for the last video about Samuel tomorrow, and then we'll get on to the kings of Israel coming up. All right, take care. Enjoy that good weather out there, kiddos.